Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Franchise Spotlight. In today's episode we're going to be talking about 1999's The World Is Not Enough, which was directed by Michael Apted, and let's go ahead and get this rolling. So as the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies do progress, they do get a little bit more ridiculous as the movies go on. I feel they started off really strong with GoldenEye, and they slowly went on a decline. The villain in this, the character name of Renard, I can't remember the actor's name, I'm sorry, but they do have a fascinating character trait with him that they give a little bit of a backstory about it, where M sent an agent to go kill him. He ended up getting shot in the head and still lived from the bullet wound. However, he doesn't feel any pain. You could cut him, shoot him, whatever, he doesn't feel pain. Which I thought was a really interesting character trait that they wanted to bring into the James Bond franchise, which I thought could really work, especially since they set it up early on in the movie that he doesn't feel pain, and I was like, oh man, there's gonna be some, like, kick-ass action sequence with him and James Bond, they're gonna square off. But they face off twice in the movie. One of the times, Renard just kind of like runs away and tries to trap James Bond in a room and tries to blow up the room. And then they have the actual fight at the end of the movie, which is very anticlimactic. I felt like this was a huge missed opportunity for such a fascinating character where he doesn't feel pain. And I thought that they could have done a lot more with it as far as the action goes between James Bond and Renard. And I thought that that would have elevated this movie to a better level than what it was at. This movie also stars Denise Richards, who looks like Tomb Raider for whatever reason. She's some sort of doctor, whether she is an archaeologist or studies nuclear matter. I can't exactly remember her profession. I think it's something with like nuclear material that she like studies or something, because she makes the bomb. But they do that James Bond thing, you know, where they like over-sexualize women, which, you know, coming into the more modern era doesn't bode well, and it doesn't really age well, especially since she is dressed very skimpy and looks like Tomb Raider. But she's supposed to be this world-renowned nuclear physicist, but the way she talks and dresses, it doesn't seem that she holds herself to the same standard that she's supposed to be at. And I know that that's just the James Bond trope of like the Bond girl, but it just doesn't match with what they're trying to portray. Now, something in this movie that I really, really love is that they're giving M more to do. They're giving M a lot of screen time. And growing up with the Daniel Craig movies, seeing Judi Dench as M in the Daniel Craig movies, and then watching the movies now and watching her become M and getting more involvement really makes me happy, because I think that she's such a fascinating character. M never had a real big role in previous movies. They were just always the handler, kind of gave James Bond the mission, what to do and whatnot. But in this movie, they give Dame Judi Dench a lot of screen time and a lot to do. She ends up hiding someone's file so that way James Bond can't access it, and basically locks him out of the file so he can't research on this woman. And she gets captured by the villain, who ends up double-crossing the MI6 spy agency for her own wealth and gain and benefit. But they do a lot with her, and that makes me really happy. And I'm hoping, and I know the next movie is Die Another Day, but I hope she's at least like the best part of that movie, because I am thoroughly enjoying her character and the way she portrays M, where she has this don't mess with me attitude, but she's also like this hard ass, and I really like that, especially being the counterpart to James Bond, in that she's the one who gives him the missions, she's his handler, and she doesn't really take anything from James Bond. She doesn't take his attitude, she just tells him what to do and sets him straight, and I really like that dynamic, especially since, you know, M is now a woman, where previously in other James Bond movies it was a man. I think that counter really works well for their chemistry. But overall, I can say this movie is a little underwhelming. They also do that stupid action movie trope where the villain has the hero in basically bounded down, and they're explaining their whole master plan, and somehow James Bond gets out, and it's like, this movie doesn't feel like it's offering anything new to the franchise. It's not really doing anything to benefit the franchise other than them Judi Dench, which I absolutely am loving in these movies, and I can say she is definitely by far the best part of it. Speaking on the ridiculous parts of this movie, James Bond gets chased. Like, one of the climactic action points is James Bond getting chased by a helicopter that has the long chainsaws that's supposed to cut down forests, and he's being chased on a dock, so he can't run right or left. He just has to run straight away from the helicopter thing, and it's ridiculous. It's goofy. It's not really offering anything for the James Bond franchise, and unfortunately, I think that hinders Pierce Brosnan's performance a lot. I can definitely say, as of right now, he's probably the weakest James Bond, which is unfortunate because it started off so strong with GoldenEye, but the past movies just haven't been following suit with GoldenEye. I feel like they're slowly starting to derail the James Bond franchise. Luckily, we still have a few more movies to go. But ultimately, I gave this movie 2.5 stars. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.